Hello and welcome back to Spirit Mom. Today at Spirit School, we're going to discuss water finally. I think I've mentioned before that water is alive, and this is very true and important for us always to remember, because when we drink it with conscious awareness that it's alive, it's able to better nourish and revitalize and spiritualize our bodies. Now, pretty much everything in the world is alive, but water is, or literally everything's alive, but water is very important for us because we're a majority made up of water, and we need to drink lots of it in our day-to-day life to just survive. But here's the thing. If you're not on well water or drinking from a stream or a brook that happens to run through your backyard, then the water you are drinking has been tainted with chemicals like chlorine and fluoride, plus it's just been in this recycled state. If you don't live by a lake, and even if you do, but especially if you don't, that water is in this perpetual cycle of just repeating in and out, literally in and out, in and out, in and out, and it has to go through those pipes, which it hates, and eventually it kind of dies. It kind of dies, and then we're drinking dead water. They've done many tests on water, and water is like a micro gemstone. Fun fact, this is why when you get baptized in the full immersion water baptism for forgiveness, it has profound effects. Water is a crystal. If you're going into holy blessed water that has been energetically primed for you to be forgiven, it literally will birth you anew, assuming it's been done properly. But even if it's not, it's still a lot of water, and water is magic. Blessed water, holy water, water has the ability to pick up tons and tons and tons of high vibrational magic. So that being said, if you're living in a city or even a town, like my tiny town, it's this recycled water system. And 90-degree pipes, water hates 90-degree pipes, and that's what our entire water systems are made of. So what do we do about this? Well, this is why when you first look into this stuff, you hear all this stuff about, like, I find like when you first get into spirituality, a lot of it that comes your way is Wiccan stuff. But one thing that they have right is putting a glass of water in the moonlight with a crystal, and it's not necessarily that you're making a spell. Well, I mean, maybe, but I don't fuss with that stuff. But what you actually end up doing with that is you are helping bring your water back to life. Crystals fill it with positive energy again. The moonlight fills it with positive energy. The sunlight, that's what I use because the sun is very powerful, literally the most powerful thing I think that we have access to. And it revitalizes our water again. And I use a system that filters out the chlorine and the fluoride. Fluoride is very bad for you. I don't care if you call me a hippie. It's very, very bad for you. It calcifies our pineal gland along with many other things. And I don't care if it's helping your teeth. It's still bad for you. People like to say, oh, well, did you know that before fluoride came into the water, tooth decay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe. I'm not saying it doesn't help the teeth, but it's doing many other things like creating tons and tons of cancer along with helping your teeth. Don't you think we could maybe find just a better way to help the teeth without ingesting carcinogens? I think we could, right? Okay, so back to water and how we can use it to raise our vibrations to a positive place. Now, if we're drinking dead water, that's literally going to do nothing for us besides literally give us the water we need inside of our bodies to stay hydrated and not die. But it's not going to do that extra step that water has the full capacity to do. So what can we do? Okay, well, first, fun fact, when water, because it's one of those tripods of a magical situation. It has gas, like when it becomes a vapor, a solid, and a liquid. It's all the things. So when you switch it from being a liquid to a solid when you freeze it, or to a vapor when you steam it, it comes back to life. So when it changes its form, either way, it comes back to life. It's literally reborn, completely fresh slate. So I recommend doing either of those two things to bring it back to life, or putting it in the sun and the moonlight helps revitalize it, but you're starting from the base and building up. Just saying nice words to it. There's that famous Japanese study, which if you're in the spiritual world, you hear about it all the time because it just speaks to energy as well, not just water. They had the whole 3 things of rice filled with water, and he sasses off to the one, says, I hate you, you suck. Says the next, I love you, you're amazing. The next one he completely ignores. Now the completely ignored one actually did the worst. It went the grossest, the foulest. So it shows that negative energy is actually better than no energy. Getting ignored is the worst. And there's lots of sad studies about that one, but we're talking about water today. Positive water did great. The rice and the water fermented beautifully into a very healthy substance. And shocker, the one that was said, I hate you, went all black and gross, but not as gross as the ignored one. So it shows that water, and this was the same water, the same rice. It was the intention that was put to each one. And this study has since been repeated, and they've even copied it with snowflakes. They've taken samples of water and turned them into snowflakes using vibrational energy, either with the same thing of saying words or different sonic frequencies, and showed how like a terrible frequency made ugly snowflakes and a beautiful frequency made beautiful snowflakes. And there was like at least a dozen different options in here, and showing how each one made a different snowflake. And we, as I love to say nowadays, are snowflakes, gladly proud of it. So the same is said for us, in each thing that comes into us prints out a different snowflake of us. So water is something to really, really, and some people take their water and they do that. They go, I'm so grateful for you. And I tried doing that for a while, and I still do when I remember, but it's one of those things, you're drinking water all the time, you don't always remember, right? But you take it and you go, I love you. Thank you so much for nourishing me. And just take a big sip every time you do it. And it's just that gratitude, you're swallowing that gratitude. Like water is powerful, and so is a lot of things, but water is one of those things that we're just always ingesting it. Like we can't ingest fire. Air, we're always breathing that in, so that's great too, to always be grateful for our prana, our air, our chi, that we could just breathe right into our body, right? But we've talked about breathing exercises before, and the earth, grounding, right? So really the only thing you can do with fire is scrying, I think it's called, when you stare into the fire and you start to see different things. You just, I guess, look at some fire and say, I appreciate you. But water is amazing. We have air, earth, and water that we can really work with and literally put into our bodies to better nourish us and to make us more whole. So people, next time you drink a glass of water, make sure to tell it you love it. Goodbye for now, people. Spirit Mom.